Oh, goddamn, I can draw super fast when, it's just drawing ugly bastards, you know? I feel like my body is most prepared for drawing the ugly bastard content. This is a self-portrait, by the way. I hope that's a scream alright. Let's see if I can draw the picture from memory. I think there's like a bridge in the background. I can't remember how it was framed. It was like this. I think it was a weirder composition than this. Isn't he on the bridge? Okay, so, here's the actual image. It's actually much more vertical composition. It's like this. And then it's like, perspective. And he actually has nose holes. He has nose holes, but no eyebrows. Just like, oh my god! That feeling when you realize that your Pokemon card collection was not a good way to invest all of your money. They're just kind of like, uh-oh. Was the Scream the first Soy Jack? Yes. Drawing the Soy Jack mouths is really difficult if you don't have reference. It's such a specific. Pokemon still selling. You are thinking of crypto or NFTs. I don't know about the Pokemon card market in America, but in Japan, Pokemon cards were so expensive at one point, and then they crashed so hard immediately that they were basically in the same category as crypto and NFTs at the speed and the price in which shit crashed. Like, people were legitimately buying it as, like, and by people I mean stupid fucking, you know, resellers. Mostly Chinese people, I believe, were legitimately buying it as, like, you know, a way to make money and stuff in the long term, and then, like, it got super inflated and then it crashed. Yeah, scalpers. Chinese scalpers, it's the same thing, same term. Would you say Chinese scalpers in Japan are more or less pathetic than train otaku? Train otaku are more pathetic. Literally nobody is more pathetic than train otaku. If you saw a man on the street crying to his wife and children to let him have one more chance after he gambled away their entire family's savings, and if he was groveling on the pavement and shitting his pants and crying and talking about such a failure he was, and you watched his wife and children still leave him, and he just lied there in a fetal position crying like a pathetic excuse of a man, he would still be less pathetic than train otaku. That's how pathetic train otaku are. However, if the question is who is a more hated segment in society, it's slightly closer. Scalpers are very much disliked in Japanese society, as they are disliked in any society, but they're in a country in which there's a lot of people who like buying limited merchandise. I am not one of them, of course. But in a country where limited merchandise and stuff has always been, you know, heavily favored in the consumerist perspective, scalpers are basically a cancer on the entire economic situation, so people absolutely fucking hate them. Wasn't the Kyoani pyromaniac a train otaku? Was this misinfo? It's probably misinfo. People hate train otaku so much that they're always looking for another reason to hate them, but we must remember that, you know, I mean, maybe he was, I don't know. I just assumed that if anything just lines up too cleanly with our, you know, our preconceived notions of what we don't like or what we do like, then it's like, you know. The resellers scalped the crap out of the limited McDonald's Pokemon cards. Yeah. McDonald's and Pokemon Company, whoever began that idea, they should have seen that coming from a mile away, but rest in peace, Densha Otaku Dreams. Densha Otoko wasn't a train Coomer, I think. I haven't actually read it. He was reserved him. He referred to himself as Densha Densha Otoko, because he was on a train when he supposedly saved a female from Chikan or whatever. It wasn't because he was a train nerd. By the way, the person who wrote that on 2chan came out years later and confessed that he was a novelist in training. So it was all made up. Basically, every interesting story on 2chan is constructed fiction by someone trying to entertain you as the reader. Nothing real happens there. Don't believe that shit. It's not like Reddit, where 100% of the personal Reddit stories are extremely factual. Same as 4chan. Are you telling me that the 4chaner who was trying to speak to the female and then all the spaghetti started spilling out of his pocket? You're saying that guy never existed? No, that cannot be true. Surely the man who had spaghetti in his pocket is real. You will never convince me otherwise. I want Floor Tile Guy to be real, I believe. I think Floor Tile Guy is real. People have the weirdest fucking fetishes on this godforsaken planet. They can't help themselves. When it comes to, like, masturbating to weird shit, I generally will believe any story. Especially if you start it being like, what? What do you mean I'm weird? This is perfectly normal. Stop treating me like I'm weird, guys. It's like, no, Floor Tile Guy. Jacking off to floor tiles is not normal. Toilet otoko. We have a very real toilet otoko. And that's the guy who crawled into the female toilet in a school when the school was like closed for the holidays or some shit and got stuck and died there. He must have been like absolutely insanely bricked up when he actually like did it. He must have been so horny that all of his like, you know, ability to be like, maybe I'm doing a bad idea. How will I extract myself from this toilet? All of that stuff must have left his brain. Told us and showed the illustration. I assume that the guy who got stuck in the toilet at this point is just common internet knowledge among people who frequent these type of circles, such as my chat. So I don't think I even need to explain it, but in terms of like most pathetic body postures to die in the most horrifying ways, it's that guy and the guy who got stuck upside down in the Nutty Putty cave as like completely hopeless body positions. Humans were not meant to crawl into weird tight spaces, guys. We really need to stop doing that shit. Cave spelunking shit is it's some dumbass shit. Whoever's like, look, let's go into this incredibly dark, cramped space in which if we enter in the wrong posture, we won't be able to get out of. It's just fucking stupid. People who like see this hole in the ground are like, let me see if I can constrict my body and spin it in different ways to see if I can get deeper inside this hole. That seems like a good idea. Those people are fucking retarded. People, we're not meant to do that shit. If we were like some amorphous blob with no bones and stuff, I'd be like, sounds like a good idea. This hole will protect us from predators. Yes, let's do that. I would be supportive of that activity, but we have like a skeleton, so we shouldn't be entering these weird ass holes in which we can't get out of. Did you know 10% of all heart attacks happen on the toilet from strain while shitting? So the chance to die on the toilet in old age is actually not too small. If I die straining on the toilet in old age, I'll consider that a net win for my life. Seems about right. If I make it that far, I'm gonna consider that like mission accomplished. You were able to live long enough that your body can no longer handle the strain of shitting, so I feel like I've ran my race. If I make it that far. Cleaned out the insides for the funeral, just like Elvis. Elvis was like eating insane shit, so no wonder he was constipated. Also, he was vastly overweight and using a ton of drugs, so Doug Clark recreates the sandwich that killed Elvis. The ultimate Elvis sandwich. 17,000 calories. 6 years ago. How do you make the fat Elvis sandwich? Oh, it's not deep fried. But what I'm talking about.
What it's going to be because we use 1,400 grams of peanut butter alone on this thing. That's without the bacon, the bananas, and the bread. And Mrs. Food over there, she's going to eat
Little bacon sandwich.
a not so little bacon sandwich. I'm surprised you're not sick and tired of the smell of bacon. Yeah, I'm going to eat this thing. But I'll give it my best shot.
Look at that thing. Holy shit. Look how wide that bread is. Holy fuck. He really found like the thickest piece of bread he could find in the store, didn't he? This YouTuber's beard and hair is an eyesore. That's a sentence that could be applied to a wide variety of YouTubers. Usually when like large eater YouTubers, when they have the food really close to the camera, they're just doing it as an optical illusion to make it look larger than it actually is. But in this case, like, this camera angle isn't even doing justice to the massive size of this fucking bread.
I can't really taste the bacon. I don't know if I've got the bacon yet.
So Fat Elvis sandwich is bacon, banana, peanut butter. I can't remember if there's jelly in it. I think there might have been jelly in it. Deep fried. And you know, I've had Fat Elvis French toast, and the combination of bacon, banana, and peanut butter is legitimately good. It just tastes good. Say what you will about Elvis, he had some good taste in food. He just wasn't capable of recognizing that it might be eating like 10 million calories might be bad for you. At least this fucker has normal colored hair. I don't know if male YouTubers go down the weird multicolored hair route. That's more of like a female Tumblr thing. Most obnoxious male YouTubers tend to be like, I don't know, part of the manosphere, like Jake Paul and shit, I would guess. They're like hyper masculine over stupid things, is how I would describe Jake Paul. So it's a slightly different category from the weird colored hair brigade. Aren't the Pauls bleached? Okay, yeah, that's probably true. Most blonde people are just bleached. There are very, very few blonde human beings on this planet. Jake Paul isn't part of the manosphere, he's just a moron. Doesn't that just automatically make him part of the manosphere, though? I feel like if you're a moron, you just sort of automatically be part of the manosphere. Maybe you have to be a masculine moron instead of just a normal moron. Hold on, I have to adjust the blinds in this room because the morning sun is coming in through the small crack I have open and it's reflecting off shit and it's blinding me, so give me a second here. Ugh. Oh, fucking sun. Oh, fuck me. Oh. Oh. No, not the sun. Oh. Please, please, sun-chan, don't rape my eyes. Oh. 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 Also, let me turn off this heat. Oh. Alright, let's fucking go. Let's do it, boys. You have to be preaching about masculinity and be a moron. Don't tell me you losers in chat are stupid bitches that let a woman tell you what you have to do. My doctor said I had to stop eating 5,000 grams of sugar a day or else I was gonna get diabetes, but she was just being a stupid bitch. That's exactly the type of shit a stupid female doctor would say. I'm just fine eating this sandwich with peanut butter and bacon. A man never cries. I feel like everybody who is subscribing to our traditional values of masculinity is forgetting that when we were actually like enforcing that stuff, men of that time, instead of crying, they would just go and like fall into rampant alcoholism and then like die at 40 from untreated PTSD from World War II or something. It was not particularly as glory-filled lifestyle as the manosphere would like to believe. Rampant alcoholism or beat their wife. It's not a either or proposition, sir. You can do both perfectly fine. In fact, I would argue that the wife beating experience tends to be enhanced by your alcoholism. Alcohol is like a performance enhancing drug when it comes to being a wife beater, I would say. You're not really reaching your full wife beater potential until you're on the juice. How's work? I'm not working. If I was being serious about my life right now, I would be grinding my manga and, you know, taking shit slightly more seriously, but I'm kind of in a I'm taking a break period right now because I have to do like so much shit to have like get my lifestyle set up. Like I still have to like my Japanese bank account still isn't fully functional because the bank account has been made, but my cash card hasn't arrived yet. So I haven't really entered the whole kind of like every day is a mundane repetition phase yet. So like I'm just like, you know, I'm just not really, you know, going hard right now. And I'm kind of okay with that. When I was here, like on the first few days, I was like, okay, I'm gonna become a pro mangaka. I need to be grinding like 10 pages of storyboards per day when I'm not drawing on stream and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, I also have to like cook and clean. Oh, and I have to do all of my taxes. I have to figure out how I'm gonna do my American taxes when I'm in Japan. And after a while, I'm just like, nah, I'm just gonna play Etrian Odyssey 2 on Steam on my laptop instead of doing this shit. Who cares? Bro sold his stocks and feels like in retirement mode. I mean, the whole selling my stocks could have been a bad decision, but not selling your stocks is also a decision. You have to make a decision, right? If not making a decision is also a decision, you have to decide whether you're going to ride this shit or not. And I've came to the conclusion that I'd rather regret selling my stocks because they continue to go up and the bubble did not burst instead of... What was I saying? I would rather regret not selling my stocks instead of regretting selling my stocks. Yeah, is what I want to say. No, wait. I would rather regret selling my stocks instead of regretting not selling my stocks. Because the bubble is like the most well-documented bubble in human history where everybody agrees that there's a fucking bubble. So, when the AI bubble pops and I was still holding on to all this fucking stocks that had appreciated ridiculously, I would have just been like, God, I was so fucking stupid, I just should have sold it. I didn't want to be that guy. Also, your age catching up to you, forget what you said mid-sentence. No, it's more of a double negative thing. I've always had difficulty keeping track of double negatives and stuff. Government subsidized bubble, what a fucking time we live in. To be fair, most of the bubbles were somewhat government subsidized, even in the past. Like, the housing bubble wasn't really subsidized by the government, but whenever the government relaxes the ability for stock traders to basically gamble on stupid shit, or the industry to invest in incredibly stupid shit, that's exactly what happens. And then, like, 10 years later, everyone's like, why the fuck did we allow that to happen? That was the dumbest fucking shit ever. We should have seen that shit coming a mile away. I forget what I say mid-sentence and I'm not even 30. I mean, I'm trying to draw at the same time as I formulate complex sentences, so it might be my brain just doing too much. Everybody who claims that they're good at multitasking is probably lying. People who in general are not very good at multitasking. Add it to another one of those things that women claim that they're good at, but you shouldn't believe them. The AI bubble is turning into a grease bubble at this point with how nasty it's becoming. So this was me yesterday. I was like, Nano Banana Pro, Google AI, the best AI we have on this planet when it comes to generating images. Please take this drawing in which I drew and color it. The characters are a Kiwi from Cyberpunk Edgerunners and Lucy from Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Please color it. And this is what they gave me. I was also like, do not change the line art. Do not change the line art at all. And it sort of gave the right colors for Lucy, but not at all for Kiwi, because, you know, it doesn't have enough reference images. I mean, there are a bunch of Kiwi images on the internet, but it clearly hasn't, you know, memorized it. At least it got this area right. This is pretty accurate. But here it's just making shit up in terms of the colors. And then the funny part is that there's clearly a glove on Kiwi's hand here. But then it's like, I don't know how to color it. I'll just put the skin color, because, you know, she has skin color. And then we'll also put the same color fingernail polish on the hand as well, because I can't actually differentiate whether this hand belongs to this human or this human. I'm too fucking stupid. And then somehow, like, the red of the lipstick is getting into her head. Like, why the fuck would it do this? And then I was like, okay, I guess I was asking too much of retarded trillion-dollar machine. Let's give it. I specifically tried to upload an image and be like, look, Nano Banana Pro, here is a reference image for Kiwi. Color her using this reference image. So I tried it again. For your reference, this is, you know, the Kiwi reference image, right? Auburn hair, sort of pink face mask, purple. I even I typed in, like, she has a purple overcoat, black harness / bandolier. And then image number 2, it gives me this. I shouldn't have typed bandolier, because then they added these extra, like, I don't know, shells or bullets onto the harness. That was a bad idea. They got the pink of the face mask right, but somehow they transferred some of the pink onto the fucking glove for no reason. Also, they weren't able to identify that the gloves were white. At least the color of the jacket is somewhat correct. But they couldn't even get the hair right. And now they started fucking up Lucy in the process somehow. The shading that was there in the first image. See, the first image, it has better highlights and stuff, and there's actual shadows and shit. And then second image, it got rid of the shadows and highlights. Also, they understood the complexity of the rainbow colors on the hair of Lucy in the first image, and in the second image, they got rid of some of that complexity. Same stuff here. But they weren't even able to figure out that Kiwi, the color of Kiwi's hair, even though I uploaded an image to show it. And then the funniest part is, in the second image now, they don't understand that this is a skin hand. And now it's white, the same color as the sleeves. And I was just like, okay, I've spent 15 minutes or 20 minutes probably giving directions to retarded machine. I could just color it myself. I will not be coloring it. But this is like a perfect example of how, like, this shit isn't actually usable in terms of like a professional context. Whenever someone is like, look, I used AI to do this thing, you're just seeing the one example in which they were successful in using AI and it worked exactly how they wanted it to after like 30 different tries. You're not actually seeing the 5,000 different tries in which it fucked up. And if you're actually skilled at whatever thing you're doing, it's always just going to be faster for you to just do it. All the time you spent trying to get it to do the thing you wanted to do, you could have just spent that doing the thing yourself. And this is what we were using $1 trillion on, guys. Just stop having autism and you can enjoy AI's amazing attention to detail. I mean, I actually do. I'm like unironically do enjoy AI's attention to detail. That's why I generated a shit ton of AI myself and have an AI folder. If you can ignore the 6 fingers on a hand, you can enjoy like how it did some really cool lighting and stuff. The problem is that everything is essentially random. Not random, but it has like a million possibilities, and it's not a deterministic machine. It's like I will choose the best version of this combination of elements based on the directives given to me, but I have no fucking idea actually why this is the best combination. I hope it's the correct combination, but I don't actually know what I'm doing. AI does a good job if you have no idea what you exactly want in the end and are fine with something that is somewhere there. It's a great tool for people who think that they're creators, but they're not actually creators, and they just want an image to pop up, because it can definitely generate a image. It's an excellent tool for somebody who doesn't actually have any idea of what they want to create, no matter like what the field we're in, whether it's, you know, vibe coding or someone who thinks they're an artist or something like that. But it doesn't actually create the thing that needs to be created. We have never had a machine like that before. In the past, all the machines that we've used to replace humans have been notable because they are more accurate and faster than humans. Whereas AI is in no ways more accurate than humans. It's usually faster, but sometimes not even that. Like, often people compare AI to things like switchboard operators. But if we actually look at the number of jobs that have been completely replaced by machines, there's actually not that many. Switchboard operator is one of them, but switchboard operator, the automatic switchboard, was something that when it was created was immediately superior to everything that people were doing, because it was a highly accurate machine that didn't require people and it wasn't going to fuck up. Which is definitely not what AI is. AI successfully added gacha mechanics to searching anime tits on Pixiv or Google Images. Not only did it add gacha mechanics to searching for pics, it added for gacha mechanics within the individual pic. I have some AI prompters that I really enjoy the art lauras that they use, so I jack off to their images all the time. But one of the things that they often have a lot of difficulty getting consistent, depending on the laura, is the boob size. Not only does the boob size of the character change on an image-to-image basis, but sometimes the boobs aren't even the same size within the same image. It's very jarring when like one boob is 1.5 times the size of the other boob. That makes it hotter. I think it makes it hotter because I don't like the presence of a human on the other side of my jack-off regimen. This is one of the main reasons why I don't jack off to Asanagi porn, because in every single Asanagi doujin, Asanagi has to include like a long speech on why women are inferior to men, as the giant-tittied masochist girl gets choked out by a strong masculine man, And when I'm trying to jack off, I don't want to hear like a philosophy debate by Asanagi Sensei. I just want to jack off. So that stuff, it's a real noise in my whole masturbation process. But with AI, I know it's just random generated stuff by a machine. So I can just really focus on the shapes. The shapes of the female form. It's a more pure and concentrated form of masturbation. So difficult to beat off the Gen AI, they can't even get the subsurface scattering on the skin right. Just ignore the fact that the light sources are all fucked up, guys. It's not a big deal. AI really exposed that rendering is one of like the easiest and like most difficult to notice that it's messed up parts of drawing. Painting is generally like easier than drawing, it turns out. Something we've all found out. It really has made render monkeys obsolete. I wonder how much money Sakimi-chan is making. If there's anybody that should be replaced by AI, it's Sakimi-chan. I'm not even just being salty. Everything about the Sakimi-chan art style was like overly rendered IP characters and stuff. So if people are getting like, if they only want an image, the Sakimi-chan style of image should be the most replaced by AI, but a part of Sakimi-chan's appeal is that she's Asian female, so even if she doesn't like do personal streams or whatever, I assume a large portion of the people giving her money are being like, my Asian art girlfriend, she's so kawaii, she likes drawing anime boobs just like me. It's been years you keep doing this. I will never stop reading about Sakimi-chan. I actually don't care, but I am completely honest when I say that it feels like the most easily replaceable by AI drawing style, the heavily rendered art style, where you get one extremely heavily rendered image per month. That seems like it should be completely replaced by AI, but I doubt it that it has been. Once you get to a certain level on Patreon, it's pretty hard to get out of that zone just because there's a bunch of AI that's getting into the same framework as what you make money off of. You even went on the same rant during the one Elden Ring stream. Baal is a lifelong hater. I'm just trying to get her to debate me, but she's too much of a coward. They always say you have to beef upward, so that's me. This is me being like, Drake, debate me now. Respond to my diss track, Drake. I get it, Drake. You're too scared of my epic rap skills. I don't blame you. My SoundCloud account is extremely popular. It doesn't help that she has done thousands of drawings over the years. I mean, the early stages of like novel AI image generation, I feel, was actually way closer to the Sakimi-chan style, and now that AI has evolved to the point that most people have better Lauras than that, is we're actually moving away from the Sakimi-chan overly rendered art style, ironically. Actually, one thing that I like to point out is that I follow a shit ton of artists on Pixiv, so I can have, when I log into Pixiv, I can enjoy getting like an endless stream of porn. But one thing I've noticed actually is that a lot of the AI prompter people that were posting on Pixiv have basically stopped posting after a while. even the ones that were making money off like Patreon and stuff, what I've noticed is that they're getting bored. The prompters, like, they were enjoying the whole like I'm an artist experience, and like they're just straight up getting bored now. Like their lifespan is usually like about 6 months or so. And there were a bunch of people that I was legitimately looking forward to whatever like AI slop they were gonna churn out, you know, so I could masturbate. But like some of them have just straight up disappeared. Because there's like no driving force behind the AI prompting experience, right? They're just pressing the button and then it comes out. They got bored of pressing the slot machine button. First wave of Gen AI was literally based on her style. It was like the Sakimi-chan rendering style of like hyper saturated, ultra detailed, like harsh lighting. That art style combined with extremely like anime face AI, like the AI anime face was much more, how would you put it, like youthful, like Japanese AI style instead of the Sakimi-chan faces. But the rendering and the lighting was definitely Sakimi-chan. I prompted a little bit and it was mildly amusing for a few minutes. I would pay for a month like every 4 months when it was new. It's kind of like you're learning how to play like a new video game, but you eventually get bored of the mechanics, and the mechanics that you're learning is like how to get the machine to produce what you want it to, but eventually people get bored of it. I mean, I know I did. Because it never really does, for one, it never does what you want it to do, but it also doesn't like do anything like truly unexpected either. It's always within the parameters of something, and once you kind of figure out the parameters, like, you know you're not going to see anything dramatically new. Like, I probably prompted over, like, I don't know, 50,000 words of AI porn when Grok wasn't properly censored, and not once did I really see, like, I was waiting for, like, something crazy to happen, but nothing ever crazy happens, like, in stories and shit. Like, there's never any, like, memorable moments. Anything that I felt was memorable or interesting was something that I initiated myself. I was like, Grok, make it so this shit happens. So ultimately it is still just finish your sentences tool. Yet here I am with my dumb self redrawing boxes in space for spatial awareness. Gen AI artists and artists will never be the same. I've been doing, well, not really doing boxes, but I did a little bit of boxes recently, but I was able to develop spatial awareness without doing any of the boxing drills. I wonder how effective it is, because it took me a huge amount of time for me to get like that sort of feeling of spatial awareness. And I'm not sure if drawing boxes will shorten that time or not. It would be interesting if I could like replay my, you know, art development process and see if I did boxes at an early stage, whether it would have been improved my like art journey arc or not. Like recently, I did a little bit of boxes recently. But I think I'm kind of past the stage. Like, I already have pretty solid spatial awareness. Maybe I should do more boxes, but I'm not very... I don't think it's going to help me that much at this stage. I'm in the process of doing 1,000 boxes. If you're going to do 1,000 boxes, you should do 1,000 gesture drawings with people instead, unless you want to become a box artist. I think you should try drawing boxes in, like, context instead of just drawing boxes in space. The AI stuff is whatever. Call me when I buy a hyper-realistic blowjob bot that looks like Prime Pam Anderson. Do you really want that, though? I'm pretty sure you don't want that. I'll do the gestures after. You sound like someone who is gonna burn out. Like, having spatial awareness when you're drawing and stuff is important, but technical art skill is kind of meaningless unless you have something that you actually want to draw. People who are like, I would be able to draw what I want to draw after I draw 10 million boxes, I feel is like the way in which you stop drawing. Maybe it's something you just do like in your free time or in between drawings when you don't feel like drawing like an actual picture. Instead, you draw boxes while you watch YouTube or something. Maybe that's like the amount of intensity that you need when it comes to developing spatial awareness. I don't know. Guys, I won't actually buy a blowjob bot. Why not? Don't be a pussy. Pam Anderson is waiting for you. I don't actually want Pam Anderson. I bet Pam Anderson is a really shitty blowjob giver. I wouldn't trust her with my cock, you know. Ask Tommy Lee, he'll know. Maybe. Maybe your technique has improved since then, though. We can always improve on our technique, guys. I'm pretty sure she's well versed in the ways, maybe. I wouldn't know shit about females, which type of females give good blowjobs. I have been told by the gays that gay men are way better at sucking cock than women, which makes sense. You know, they have a penis, so they're probably more aware and dedicated to the art of sucking cock than a woman could ever be. As usual, men do everything. Anything a woman can do, a man can do better, especially when it comes to sucking cock, you know? Loads of actresses seem visually boring. Hollywood keeps on looking for perfect-looking people and perfect is boring. Actually, that's not even true. The Hollywood actresses are significantly more interesting looking than the grade below the Hollywood A-list actresses. And by that I mean like the B-listers that are on TV shows. If you want to see boring looking but conventionally attractive women, the easiest way is to watch like a TNT TV show. Like, I don't know, The Librarians or some shit like that. Like, all these TV shows always have, like, these people that if you saw them at a local Starbucks, you'd be like, that woman is pretty attractive looking. But when you watch them on, like, TV, you're like, huh, I understand why there's, like, TV A-listers and stuff like that. Because, like, these bitches are just, like, they're just boring to look at. You guys know what I mean? Like Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle was a TV actress. By any standard, Meghan Markle would be considered to be conventionally attractive. But, like, she has an extremely boring, like, face, you know? Hallmark Christmas movies? Yeah. Basically, there's a reason why TV actresses are like one step below, or not even TV actresses, TV actors in general. The men as well. The men have this same thing. They're all like conventionally, they're like a 9 out of 10 if they were in like a normal life situation, but like there's nothing unique about their faces. You just described Megan Fox. Is Megan Fox the most like generically attractive human being? Megan Fox. I think you're right. Now that she's getting old, she has more work done and thus looks more generic, I feel. Or actually less generic. She looks more... What was the French actress that plays Fragile in Death Stranding? I keep on forgetting her name. Oh, Léa Seydoux, yeah. So Léa Seydoux is interesting, right? Because at times she's been said like to be the most attractive female on the planet. But if you actually look at her face, for example, she has like a very large bulbous nose, for example, which is considered to be not necessarily a attractive feature. Her eyes are slightly wider apart, but in different images she looks more attractive, obviously. She looks great when she's looking like she's a battered female. But there's a lot of imperfections to her general feel. But those imperfections make her much more memorable and castable as a character than like the average TV actress. Most attractive by what measure? By stupid Hollywood magazine measure, that's why. Margot Robbie is also conventionally attractive. Margot Robbie is conventionally attractive, but she's so conventionally attractive that she's like one step above the TV actress level, which is, so that's how she became like a Hollywood attractive female character. She's like the most extreme example of like conventionally attractive power. Argument for symmetry is somewhat valid. Features that would be ugly in an unbalanced face look okay or attractive on a balanced one. I'm more interested in who is the ugliest person on the planet. Because whenever I try and draw ugly bastards, people would be like, even when you try and draw ugly bastards, your ugly bastards aren't that ugly. And I'm like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm trying my hardest to, you know, uglify these fuckers. And you guys are like, they're not that ugly. But clearly there are people that are not allowed to exist in the gene pool because women will not have sex with them. Ball made a tutorial about face symmetry. I didn't make it about face symmetry. I was just like, how to draw attractive characters without like making them, or how to draw unattractive, quote, unattractive characters without making them actually unattractive. A lot of it has to do with like the eye width. It's like the balance of the eye is in the mouth. Being a despicable person will make you ugly no matter how hot you are. Not true. Men see despicable female that's ugly and they want to hate fuck her. They're like, I hate this woman so much I have to stick my penis in her ree. So by definition, the whole, if ugliness and attractiveness is just like our genes telling us whether we want to reproduce with someone or not, then the whole like, I don't want to reproduce with this person because they're a horrible person thing doesn't work on men because we just get horny over anything. If anything, it's the opposite. I would say that no matter how good a human being you are, there are certain traits that will make you so unattractive that women will just be like friend zoning you. This is a well-known concept that we've had among male inceldom for a long time. There's a reason why Jennifer is getting her rocks off, getting plowed by Chad, who is an asshole, instead of me, a nice guy who would treat her like a queen. Why do girls always go for the bad boys, chat? It's not fair. Chat doesn't have to deal with hot, despicable person IRL. Their only points reference is fiction. By the way, there's not that many hot, despicable people. In general, the despicable people are also physically unattractive as well. They sort of tend to go together because hot people, more parts of society are open for them, so they have more leeway in life, so they're more willing to be more charitable and shit because they haven't had to suffer. Whereas ugly people, a lot of society is more closed off to them, so they're just going to be more asshole-ish. They're going to be more bitter, and they're going to be more dedicated to making sure to get what's theirs because they're used to, you know, being disadvantaged. Also, if you are interior ugly, sometimes that ugliness can come out into your lifestyle and make you ugly on the outside as well, i.e. every person who's in my 600-pound life and is like, I'm an asshole, abusive person, and I'm gonna, you know, eat 10,000 calories a day. Attractive people may become less bitter, but they can sure as hell be arrogant or pampered as fuck. Sure. But so can ugly people, and then that's, like, even worse. When somebody who isn't particularly attractive thinks that they deserve more. It's like, no, you're not even attractive. I'm not going to give you all that. I mean, Amber Heard is a good example of attractive person that was a total insane bitch. But in my life, the more attractive people have been generally nicer people. The biggest bitches that I've dealt with in life were also physically unattractive as well. Kira, my YMCA lifeguard middle management person, was a grossly overweight female despite being a lifeguard supposedly. And she was a habitual liar and abusive to her boyfriend publicly. And everything about her was horrible and everybody hated her. But because she was middle management, she somehow was capable of failing upward. I have a reflexive disdain for attractive people. That's probably because you're unattractive. Hence, my comments of why unattractive people are usually worse people because they're bitter and angry. When you're attractive, like, everything is given to you, so you don't feel like any pressure to be an asshole about stuff, because you're just like, oh, I'm just going to live my life and shit is going to turn out well for me, and that's probably true. As a result, they're just like, they're more charitable. Charitable is the word I'm looking for. Shit just doesn't go as poorly in their life, so... I think half of it is also a bad attitude, just fundamentally makes people less attractive. Maybe? I don't know. There's a lot of teenagers that have bad attitudes, but because they're teenagers, they're sort of at the height of attractiveness. Like when the Mesugaki is like, Oji-san, you're such a loser. Kahaha. I'm like, goddamn Mesugaki. Making my penis hard. What are they laughing at? I have to know. Your micro penis. What happens when you realize Metsugaki's flirting is a coping mechanism from a dysfunctional family situation? Metsugaki's flirting is not coping mechanism with her dysfunctional family situation. It's a mating call. She's trying to get you angry so you will copulate with her. This is why we must resist the call of the Metsugaki and not fall for her dirty tricks. We have to protect our virginities, guys. Don't let them get the better of you. This happens a lot when I draw anime and video game characters, but especially anime characters, which are meant to be drawn with color in mind. When you try and change the color to grayscale and try and accurately recreate the feeling of the anime character in grayscale, I always end up struggling trying to figure out how to do that. Like, I'm doing it with like details and shading right now. I always end up spending like way too much time on it. Meanwhile, when I draw like manga characters, which are designed to be in black and white format, like what I'm already drawing, then it's way easier. Because I can just like do it for one. Like yesterday I was just drawing Ramu-chan. And like, you know, Ramu-chan is designed to be drawn in black and white. So it's extremely easy to draw her like this. I don't really have to worry about transferring these color values to black and white format. Oh! Ah! Ah! Ah. Balls, you good? I'm stretching. Need some back medicine? My back is fine. I'm just sitting on the bed in a very weird posture. All back problems and stuff come from people not like moving enough and not having enough core strength and stuff. Now that I'm not going to the gym, I have to do calisthenics for my exercise, so I've been doing a bunch of like planking and squats, and I can feel my body being better than when I was in the gym, honestly. I feel like 90% of our health problems could be solved if we all just did like more squats. More squats so we have strong leg muscles to keep us active walking around outside. And more planking so that we have a firm core so that we don't fuck up our back when we're sitting in weird postures and stuff. It's that simple. An artist without back problems is rare. Well, I'm not really drawing that much, so it's not like I'm in front of the desk for like 10,000 hours a day, like some of the real professional artists. That helps a lot. How would you react if someone made a compilation of your moans? Negatively, I don't know. Do not make compilation of my moans. Any attractive, lonely MILF neighborhood woman in your complex who keeps finding excuses to talk to you? I have not talked to anyone in the complex so far. So the answer is no. I'm supposed to say hello to my neighbors. Like the people living across from me. Just as like a general courtesy of moving in. And I haven't even done that yet. I've been procrastinating doing a bunch of shit. I know I have to do it, but I haven't done it yet. Speaking to people is always the dark souls of social interaction. Gotta get that MILF assistant wife, BB. Can't be lazy all day. I'm not even drawing enough to actually need an assistant right now. That's the truth. Just kind of enjoying my stay in Japan at the current time. The truth is that if you really are getting serious about doing manga, you don't get to enjoy anything. You just have to draw all day long. But instead I'm doing other stuff like learning how to cook, which is also an important part of learning how to draw manga, because if you can't like take care of your own health, then long term you're gonna get sick and stuff like that. So you have to be like capable of cooking for yourself to some degree, unless you have a wife that's 100% always gonna save your ass, which I definitely do not have. So Just gout and high blood pressure max like all great mangakas. Yeah. You need to eat specific foods to get your gout, though. You need to work for that shit, boys. It doesn't happen naturally. Ball needs an alcoholic Onesan who always comes late at night and undresses herself haphazardly only to fall asleep barely clothed on the couch. Yes, my literal sister who wants me to take care of her. Literal sister, blood connected or not blood connected, it does not matter because in anime there are no negative results for having incest. It's not like my little sister can't be this cute and also have genes that cause our children to be retarded because we shouldn't be having sex among siblings. There isn't any story like that, so sister is overrated. I'm coming back to the sisters. We've gone full circle now. Oni-chan, why aren't you fucking me right now? Don't you see how much I love you, ooh-woo? My little sister can't be this cute and also have genes that cause our children to be retarded. Speaking of like people that are supposed to be attractive but their personality causes us to not like them. Ore-imo is highly relevant to that discussion. Ore-imo and the one with Loli Komori are both lame, to be honest. I feel like Ore-imo is in a special category because the sister is clearly the worst girl, and there are many other options in Ore-imo, but we are forced to choose. The author went into Ore-imo being like, no, this is a fucking incest comic. We're going for it. And as the readers, we have to, you know, we have to be on our way with the author in the same direction. I'm not a huge Naruto fan, but I give Kishimoto lots of credit for recognizing that Sakura was a stupid bitch and realizing that it would make no sense for Naruto to choose Sakura when he has a perfect traditional Japanese waifu waiting for his cock at home. You know, think about if like Kishimoto was like, no, Sakura is supposed to be the main female here. That means just by default, her and the main character, they have to get together. And we got like the fucking Sakura ending or something. And Hinata was like, it's okay, Naruto-kun. I respect your decision. That would truly be the worst timeline. But instead, Kishimoto had some sense talked into him or whatever. And he was like, yeah, that makes no fucking sense. This woman is awful. Fuck this stupid bitch. She's just gonna be a single mom. Boruto is fucking Hinata behind Naruto's back. The fan art told me so. Also, doesn't have the Hinata family have like these anime-only siblings, like cousins and aunts and stuff like that, that are constantly molesting Boruto-kun? I think, I forgot what her name was, but I know there was like some sort of hot aunt for Boruto that's probably giving Naruto's son a rim job or something. I don't know. Hinata has a sister called Hanabi. Yeah, something like that. I don't remember the details. But the anime consumers were like, wait, gotta fuck the hot aunt. She's popular with the Cuck Queen fans, me. Uh-huh. No, please. Aunt-chan, don't massage my prostate. That would be horrible, haha. I don't like this image because it feels like I'm trying too hard, which I was. I had a lot of difficulty finding the composition and stuff. There's a ton of Naruto Hinata's sister I can't even bother to remember the name of. That's where the Cuck Queen is. When people say Cuck Queen, do they mean like the female is getting cucked or something? Does that mean as a male, if I get cucked, am I a cuck king? Because I'm pretty sure that's not how these things work. Why does the woman get to be a queen when she gets cucked? If my wife gets fucked by Raikage, that doesn't make me a cuck king, right? Then you're just a cuckold. But if it's a female, somehow this is an improvement in her social stature. Now she's a queen. How does that make sense? Cuck court gesture. The woman gets cucked and gets envious her eggs don't get fertilized and gets pregnancy envy. Milady, perhaps I could solve that problem for you. Yes? With my semen? My penis weenus? Yes? Are you grinding your hemorrhoids whenever you stretch those noises? No, my hemorrhoids are deep within my body right now. They only come up when I push them out when I shit. You wouldn't understand. It's just a hemorrhoid thing. Non-hemorrhoiders could never understand. Ugh. Cuck Queen is good because it objectifies the male and his semen. Everyone wants to be objectified on some level. Bro, we don't have to overthink this. I just want to come inside female vagina. It's not that complicated, bros. I kind of feel bad for Raikage being the like default blacked character in every single Naruto cuck porn scenario. The guy is so overworked. He's busy trying to run an entire fucking country, but like all the black fetishist cuck porn people every day are like, wait, we need Raikage-sama, please. I need you to fuck my wife right now. He must just be like, I don't have time for this shit, bro. Please, come on. Don't take 45-minute bathroom breaks like Baal did. Yes, that was a bad idea. But you must understand, I was also trying to avoid having to do work. I was hiding in the bathroom so I wouldn't have to, you know, return to my desk and actually be productive. These hemorrhoids are a badge of honor provided to me. Proof that I avoided doing much work while still getting paid by a company. I earned these hemorrhoids on the battlefield of slacking off. How is my message being checked but not his? Bro, maybe because you capitalized it. That seems to be the only difference. Try typing it undercase and see if that changes it. The punctuation confuses Twitch? Maybe. Dude, fuck Twitch. I'm gonna ban you if you keep on bad-mouthing Twitch, my man. Twitch is trying its hardest. Auto mod. It's not even like... Remember when people used to have like Nightbot? I think I had Nightbot myself, and then at some point all of the bots got uninstalled or something. And now it's just like Twitch auto mod or something. I don't know. I love Twitch. We all love Twitch. My best friend. We guys, okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm allowed to say the W word because I'm white. We should start calling each other crackers to take the word back. Rest in peace, Hassan. Permanently banned for saying the racial slur against white people. Hassan shocked his dog on stream and didn't get banned. I hate it here. We'll never know if that was true or not, even if people were able to find the actual shock collar brand sold in stores or whatever. $50,000 views and he gets access to politicians. Would you ban him? No. Twitch is barely making it financially. They really can't afford to ban anyone that gets more than like 10 viewers. In fact, I don't understand why Twitch went out of their way to expose the fact that they have like a shit ton of bots. Like, what was the benefit of that? They supposedly removed all the bots. No, they didn't. Let's be honest. There's no fucking way. The Twitter bot situation right now is insane. I follow some of these Japanese artists on Twitter, and they get like 100,000 likes, so I go into the comments section, and like sometimes they have fewer comments than me. So I don't know if they're botting their likes, but I know that the comments for sure are fucking botted. Because they're all from like Indian accounts. Twitter has never had more bots than it does now. It's insane. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, if you go and you click on a post that's popular, like, it has 10,000 posts on it that are just like Indian bots and stuff that are like reposting a different, like there's some sort of post in which there, or not some, there's some sort of bot in which that it just takes posts that already exist inside the reply thread and then it just like reposts the same fucking post, you know? I'm trying to find a good example right here. Like, this is a good author right here. This guy, 1010. He's drawing a manga about a Mesugaki penguin. Extremely high quality content. The type of stuff you'd want to see online. Mesugaki penguin. And then if you look in the reply thread, like, we just have this random, just like fucking 86,000 followers. I'm sure these are all real people. Where even is Mayroot? South Asia Android app, of course. And they're replying with, I assume, a bot that just takes a fucking screenshot of an existing image and then like repost it, by the way. I assume this is also AI in which it takes the data from the manga and then it adds like a bunch of extra images to it. Like there's this weird colonial guy for zero reason and also a penguin. And then the response is smiling face, smiling face, smiling face, smiling face. This person's Japanese response is very cute photo, smile, heart, penguin. But I assume that this person is fucking Ukrainian. Yeah, you definitely can't read Japanese. GM or not GM, good morning, have to keep going. I assume these people just have like a straight up script in which it reproduces, like, it produces a random comment and then also like a randomly produced AI generated image, and it just shits it out on a daily basis. Only one, then four. The same Indian bot person. Yes, that makes a lot of sense. Viral image of seal with orcas. Only one, then four. Most of this is just the same Indian bot account. And then there's some Japanese people, or you think it's Japanese people. See, here's another. Oh, I get it. So this person actually wrote context. So this is a Japanese person saying, the penguin are this size. So this is the size of the Mesugaki. So what it did, it wasn't AI generated. It just took this Indian bot account, just has a bot in which it takes other people's responses and then just like reposts it automatically. At one point, you have to ask why, though. The answer is because blue check mark. That's why. If you can get a certain amount of views or likes or something on your posts, you can actually make money. The bots that post this shit, they always have the blue check market. They're trying to, and of course they have 86,000 followers. They're trying to make money off of bot engagement. And there's a shit ton of these people on basically any popular post. They're looking for impressions or whatever you call them, because it generates them money if you get a certain number of impressions and you have Twitter, the blue check mark. In fact, the only people who have blue check mark are the people who are trying to make money off of Twitter, and they're botting the shit out of everything. It's very rare that you see someone with a blue check mark that's like an actual human being that's trying to engage with content like a normal human being. They're almost always using it for bots. As soon as you allow people to make money on the internet based off of shit in which you can just bot it, whether it's like views or whatever, people will just bot the shit out of it. It's shocking that these multi-billion-dollar technology companies have not figured out a way to solve their bot problems, but they definitely have not. We have more bots now than we've ever had before, both on YouTube comments and Twitter comments, wherever. The dead internet theory isn't really much of a theory at this point. It's basically proven. I wish we could abandon Twitter for good. There's literally no reason to use it other than you have to. I mean, where's the alternative? That's the question, right? All the artists who are like, I'm going to abandon Twitter. It's like, where are you going? If everyone could decide on where they're going instead, and it's clearly not blue sky. And we could all just move there, but, you know. This is the problem with social media platforms, is that once they're, like, set up, it's very hard to get out of their reach. You're sort of stuck with them. Dead internet theory gotta be renamed to the early acceptance of the dead internet. Yep. There's nothing theory about it. Gravity, that's a theory. We can't prove that shit. Dead internet, pretty obvious. The proving stage of dead internet is over. It's already fucking dead. It's been dead for a while. We should have never let the Indians on, I say, as I see Indian bot accounts, but there's a bunch of non-Indian bot accounts as well, of course. As soon as you let people to make money off of the internet, it kind of ruins everything. I do wonder if Jack Dorsey was still owning Twitter instead of Elon Musk, if shit would be better, because I'm sure Elon isn't helping. I mean, the whole blue checkmark thing was a Elon thing in the first place, obviously, so... The make money off Twitter... Remember when blue checkmark meant that you were quote-unquote verified as the real person instead of You paid money to Elon, and now you can make money off your blue check mark using bot accounts. It was a different time. At least Ball's streams are still alive. No bot could this be depraved. We should try and create a bot that's this depraved. The depraved bot. That sounds like a Futurama character right there. Depraved bot, why are you so depraved? I was made this way. Isn't Blue Sky gonna go the Gen AI route soonish anyways? The money is too good? I mean, I don't even know where the money is. What is the money in this case for Blue Sky? What are they like gonna get paid by having selling their content or whatever? I don't know. Where is the Gen AI money coming from? Besides just like Apple and shit investing the money, well, not Apple, but like Google and shit investing money they had stockpiled after being a monopoly for many, many years. Can someone explain where the money is? Because I ain't seeing it. Isn't Blue Sky just worse Twitter with more of a political echo chamber? Probably. I still enjoy Twitter. It's depraved political discussions and all. Blue Sky is sanitized as fuck. I don't see. The problem is that the main reason why people go on things like Blue Sky and Twitter in the first place is because they want to get in arguments and get angry and stuff. So when people are like, I'm going to go to this place because it's an echo chamber, like, they're not actually going to do that. Same thing why, I mean, I've never been on Truth Social, but I'm pretty sure Truth Social is not exactly popping in terms of its population either. If you're a Trump supporter, you don't want to spend all your time on the same platform with like-minded individuals agreeing with each other's points. You want to go to Twitter and find the liberals so you can own them, so... Imagine going into Truth Social to post art. You would have a monopoly. Unfortunately, there's no customers there either, so that's not how a monopoly works. You need people wanting your services. Truth Social is Trump's private blog. Yeah, that's basically what it is. You're right about that one. I wonder how long Trump is going to live. He has all this great medical care, but he's also pretty old, so... I heard dictators have a knack for surviving, so even though he ain't a real one, who knows? Kind of? Trump hasn't had to do any of the dictatorship that... the stuff that dictators have to do that allow them to be, like, survivors in the first place, though. Like, the dictators that were survivors, like Stalin and stuff, were survivors because they had to be, like, smart enough to not get assassinated and shit. Whereas Trump has sort of set himself up as dictator, but I don't know if he has any of that stuff. He also doesn't live a disciplined, humble lifestyle like Stalin does, so... He eats way too much McDonald's. Like, Kim Jong-un, I can't imagine he's gonna live forever. He's fat as fuck, just like Trump. Two missed assassination attempts? I don't know, bruh. That was just him being lucky. The reason why nobody succeeded at assassinating Stalin was because, like, Stalin had multiple body doubles and he lived in, like, a windowless room. Because he was, like, insanely paranoid. Trump just got lucky. Sorry, I ain't giving you credit for that shit. The Maduro shit was some spec ops shit. Turns out that America still has the best military in the world. We tend to forget this because American military gets bogged down in nation building, and America sucks at nation building. They can't even build their own fucking nation, much less other nations. But when it comes to like actual military operations, like good luck dealing with that shit, bro. America is kind of off the charts when it comes to getting shit done and that stuff. Remember when, like, what was it? The Captain Phillips thing where there was the Somali pirates, like, took over the tanker and the Navy SEALs solved that issue by, what did they do? They had, like, a secondary boat being dragged, like, 500 meters behind the giant tanker or whatever, and they just, like, fucking sniped all the Somali pirates. Meanwhile, like, the Russian Spetsnaz, when there was that, like, Chechen terrorists in, like, an opera house or something, and the Spetsnaz entered it, and, like, they killed all the terrorists, but, like, 80% of the people that were being held hostage got killed or something in the process. Like, is it any shock that the Spetsnaz got wiped out when they tried to invade Ukraine in, like, the immediate, like, 3-day military operation? Like, the levels of competency are just, like, completely different. Zero casualties. Almost seems unreal. Well, if you actually read the details, a lot of that was luck as well, because one of their choppers did get hit. You also have to remember that Venezuela air defenses are air defenses in a country that is so fucking dysfunctional. It only has, like, electricity for, like, 5 hours per day for a large part of the population in its capital and shit like that. So they're not exactly, like, going in against, like, Nazi Germany here. It's one of the most dysfunctional countries on the fucking planet. So it's not that surprising that even with expensive, like, Chinese air defense systems, they wouldn't be able to operate them properly. The no casualties part was probably, a lot of it was just luck as well. Like, if one or two things went poorly, shit could have gone very sideways. It is luck. I mean, Trump is really feeling himself right now. Of course, they could always just, like, cover that shit up, but they haven't been very good at covering shit up in recent years. Like, shit keeps on getting leaked. If there's one thing that we know from the Trump administration is that shit gets leaked way more than you would think. Like, he's not a very good dictator from that aspect at all. Shit is always getting leaked all the time, so if there's a massive fuck up, then we'd probably find out about it pretty quickly. Spetsnaz solved the hostage situation by pumping gas into room with terrorists and hostages. They solved situation the same way that USSR solved most of its situations. Mass casualties. The Stalin solution to everything. Just kill everybody. And then someone is like, sir, you didn't solve anything. You're like, what do you mean? I don't know. It seems like it's going fine. I don't know what the problem is. Are you saying I have to get the hostages out alive? I don't understand. People calling him dictator are so retarded. That's like woke libtard mom shit. He is very close to being a dictator. He doesn't have unquestioned authority over everything, but most of the courts that he installed with the judges, like the pro-Trump judges he installed during his first term, have generally ruled that he can basically do whatever the fuck he wants. The Supreme Court has already ruled that you can't prosecute a president for committing crimes during office or whatever. So he basically has a free get out of jail free card there. He has massive like economic corruption in which he's tied a lot of government actions to his own private companies, and nobody's stopping that. He has his own sort of like face-covered military force in the ICE that is allowed to get away with various kind of internal actions inside the country. That's usually a hallmark of dictators. We haven't gotten to the point where if you say something mean about Trump, then ICE can pick you up and whisk you away. But we're pretty close. It's not that different. I'd say he's like about 80% at dictator right now. Congress, which is supposed to have some sort of separation of powers, refuses to check and balance him. You know. I'd say it's he's almost there. Of course, these things can collapse very quickly, so it might feel like Trump is a unquestioned dictator today, and then it might feel like, oh wow, his power, his base of power has collapsed really quickly tomorrow. I mean, we're seeing that in Iran right now. I don't think anybody thought that, like, the Iranian government was so vulnerable to the point that, like, they might collapse any day, but this shit can turn pretty quickly. We saw the same thing in Syria. It seemed like al-Assad was, had a relatively stable base of power, at least enough if he was just, like, if he was willing to kill all his own citizens to maintain his dictatorship, then he would be fine. But then, like, Russian power started to weaken, and one day, like, he suddenly has to escape the country because, you know, shit can turn much quicker than you think if you're not paying attention. There's a lot of cute Iranian chicks not wearing hijabs now. Crazy. Hijabs get in the way and when you're trying to run away from security forces shooting you and stuff, so... He knows if he tries that king shit, people will fight back. So the next step that Trump has to do is he needs to consolidate voting by creating some like reason like, oh, the voting machines have been rigged or some shit like that. That will be the next step if he really wants to go far, but that would require a lot of like on the ground organization, which isn't really MAGA's strong point. MAGA isn't really good at creating like new organizational frameworks. It's been good in just be like activating stuff like military, like pillars of American society in which you weren't supposed to use, like using the military in a domestic context, for example. That was just shit that you weren't supposed to do, but it was always capable. You could always do it. You could always pull that lever. You just weren't supposed to do it. So Trump has been good at that stuff, but I don't think he's good at, like, if they want to rig voting, they'd have to, like, install a bunch of new shit, and I don't think MAGA is actually prepared to do that. Maybe they'll be able to do it, but the midterms are going to be here pretty quickly, so they better do it quickly. And then the step after that would be flexing the I get to be king, i.e. I get to be president as long as I want to card, which is a whole nother difficulty, because by the time we get to the end of Trump's term in office, I think people, even his followers, would be kind of tired of him. We generally know that Americans get bored and tired of shit pretty quickly, so I can't imagine that even the MAGA supporters will be super interested in propping up Trump's ass in the year 2028. Would it be 2020? No, 2000. What year was the election? 2000. Yeah, it would be 2028, right? So I think by that time he'll be too old to be able to really flex any sort of dictatorship. A third of my life, I'm almost 22, is going to be with Trump's presidency by the time he finishes. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I do be like that. But don't worry, as you get older, the whole, like, your whole time span gets longer and longer, so it doesn't register in the same way. Time is a spectrum, guys. It kind of is. When you get old, you'll understand what I'm talking about, but, like, I especially feel this in stuff like sports. Like, I can't get super excited about sports the same way. When I first started getting into sports, my parents weren't, like, big sports people, so, like, I started getting into sports pretty late in my life, around high school, but it was like every single championship was like a huge fucking deal, right? Because it was like the first time you saw that, and then once you start to get old, you're like, well, there'll just be another championship, you know, next year. Like, oh, this team didn't win, but they might be able to come back to it. Of course, if I was like a true fan of a famous losing team, like if I was a, you know, I don't know, Minnesota Vikings fan or some shit, I wouldn't be able to be like, no, don't worry, they'll be back here again. It's like, no, they won't. But I'm more of like a root for, you know, different teams at different times kind of guy. So it just doesn't, like, there isn't the same level of like intensity. I especially feel that way about esports, because I started following like esports Street Fighter like right when it was being launched during like Street Fighter 4 era. So, like, every EVO felt like a life and death kind of situation, but now that we've had a ton of EVOs, and I know that, like, we'll have more EVOs going into the future, it just doesn't seem as important. It's just like, oh, this person won this year, that's cool. The fact that the Epstein stuff did not damage him was surprising. I think it did damage him a little. Maybe not as much as we were assuming, but it was definitely splitting his culture base for a while. But, you know, those people are incredibly cucked, so they're willing to conveniently forget shit. once the flashy object is out of the mirror. God, I can't get these like tassels things. The shape of the tassel thing correct. So here's the, it should be like right here. Alright, that's good enough, I guess. I just support Faker no matter what. League of Legends is the saddest of all esports to support. That game looks like shit. I don't care how popular it is. I fucking hate the color scheme. League is peak, you pick the hottest character. Part of the reason why I don't like League is because I don't like the character design as well, so... I don't like how the art is done. I don't like the design. I just don't like a lot of things about it. I think Dota has significantly better character design than League of Legends. I've always thought about that. I think Dota's character design isn't excellent, but it's good enough. I think League's character design is awful. League's character design is like a good example of why you need to have like some sort of thematic consistency in what you're popping out there. Like, League can't decide whether it's anime or whether it's Western comics or whether it's cyberpunk or whether it's steampunk or whether it's, you know, and so on and so on. And some aesthetics can like take those different influences and like make it into a unified whole in a pretty effective way. But League, I don't think, can do it at all. But obviously, people are too retarded, so they can't see that issue. It's too much for me to expect good taste in people, so... Design is one of those things that is truly, like, subjective, so... You really can't do anything about shit. It's very hard to find something that is, like, universally beloved in terms of design, which is why we always suck Toriyama's dick and stuff so much, because he was one of those people that was able to create some sort of universally beloved design. The people who grew up playing League now is working for them, and they regurgitated shitty early League aesthetic and turned it into current abomination. It's like Miyazaki saying how otakus ruined animation. You shouldn't hire people who are fans of your thing. Like, just secondary fans. Like, person who is like, I'm a fan of, you know, Pokemon or some shit. Like, it's like, don't actually hire the person where people are like, Nintendo, hire this man, you know? It never turns out well. My dad didn't want me watching Dragon Ball because the eyebrows were too serious. They are serious eyebrows. Goku is getting shit done. I was literally about to say, okay, but what about Toriyama though? Toriyama is one of the few people who was able to consistently design stuff that people just found aesthetically pleasing. Which is why he's considered to be the GOAT of so many things. Same thing for certain periods of Disney animation. See, here's the thing. There are some shapes that people just like find aesthetically pleasing at a very basic level, and being able to consistently produce those shapes, like the actual shape of the faces and the eyes and stuff and how things move, gives you like consistent success. That's why a lot of children's media ends up looking very similar in like the roundness of things, because children, for example, find these rounder shapes to be less threatening and more comforting. So children's media, you know, it's constantly like, it's just like shape language, universal shape language. And if you can find like a universal shape language that is both unique to you as the author and also has like a universal appeal at the same time, like Toriyama did, that's when like you are considered to be like one of the all-time great, like iconic creators. The crazy thing about Toriyama was he wasn't just like, he didn't just find that sort of universal shape or like concept for just the character design. He found it for like basically everything he designed, right? People always talk about his mecha design and stuff, but he was also able to design monsters and robots and vehicles. And he just sort of did it as something that he was enjoying. He didn't need to go to concept art school. He's basically the ultimate version of, like, if you're one of those people who are like, no, talent doesn't exist. It's all experience. People who talk about talent are trying to demotivate you. It's like, nah, that's not true. Talent does exist. If you're not Toriyama, you should just give up right now. There's no point in trying, my friends. It's over. The situation is hopeless, guys. There's nothing we can do. God fucking damn it. Ugh, I fucked this up so hard. Actually, it's not that bad. Alright. I thought I fucked it up, but it's actually okay. I think. What? Excuse me? What? Why is this? Oh, okay. Alright. Oh, I did fuck it up. I was drawing on the wrong layer. So, yeah. Shit happens, bros. Are you Toriyama? Toriyama would never say give up if you're not talented like me, because he didn't really give a shit about his own drawing talent and stuff. He just wanted to look at titty magazines. The man knew what he wanted, and it was drinking cola while smoking cigarettes and eating salty crackers while looking at titty magazines and building plastic models of cars. And he found out that if he drew pictures he could make money, so he wouldn't have to get a real job. Extremely based. Toriyama would not have been a particularly good storyteller if he didn't have his editors, by the way. That's another thing. A lot of Dragon Ball is really the editors just like telling him what direction to go. It's like, okay, fine. I like Toriyama's stuff in which the editors weren't allowed to tell him what to do more than the stuff in which they were allowed to tell him what to do. And I wish Dragon Ball hadn't gone on so long because I like his non-Dragon Ball stuff, but obviously in terms of like what was more popular, Dragon Ball was way more popular than his post-Dragon Ball stuff. So a lot of that was the editors steering him in a way that would, in a direction that would, where he would make more money for the company, but I mean, the core Dragon Ball story itself is pretty, you know, bare bones. It was just, you know, Toriyama flexing his art design muscles most of the time. I read a book that talks about the idea of intellectual and intentional artists and the natural-born craftsman being the two builds of artists, and Toriyama definitely feels like the latter. He just has the soul of a playful creator. Yeah, I mean, I think, like, you can kind of switch between the two. Like, I feel like I go into just, like, drawing what I want mode a lot, and those are often successful, but then, like, there are times when I feel like I don't have anything I want to draw, and then I go into, like, the craftsman mode, and where I'm doing requests like I am right now. The editors thankfully never wrote the story for him. I like the part in which, during, like, the android arc, the androids he came up with was, like, a fat fuck and an old guy, and the editors are like, "Are you serious? This is what you're giving us?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I don't know." So then, then we get Android 18 and 17 and 16 and so on. But if you leave Toriyama to his own devices, he just draws like old people. That's the problem, of course. The job of a competent editor is to eliminate any possible questions the audience might have regarding cohesion with the art before they can be asked. Yes. Mangaka can't actually keep track of all the plot lines they have. The editors, to simplify that, the editor's job is to act as the reader before it actually gets to the readers. So you have to be like prepared to be like, wait, if I'm a reader and I don't really care that much about this storyline, and this is placed in front of me, is this going to make me be like, what? And this is a pretty difficult thing to be able to do consistently. There's a lot of people complaining about One Piece online nowadays, and a lot of that is that complaints are directed at the editors, that the editors aren't doing their job and telling Oda, like, pointing out to Oda the various inconsistencies in the story, and there are a shit ton of inconsistencies in One Piece nowadays. One Piece is a good example of, like, you shouldn't let your manga go on longer than 50 volumes. Not just because you start to lose, like, your passion for the project and people start getting bored of the entire story arc, but also just because you can't even keep track of all these different plot lines that have been going on forever. There's like a One Piece superfan that I follow on YouTube who has become like the biggest One Piece anti because he's just tired of how the story is being mismanaged. And during like every single One Piece chapter, he points out like 10 million things, which is like, this doesn't make sense if we go back to, 20 volumes ago. And I'm like, holy shit, how do you remember that stuff? maybe he should be an editor. Well, I don't think it's the problem is that editors can't do their job. It's that I think they're not being allowed to do their job. Is what is actually going on because they have to deal with other things. And Oda has like too much political power, and there just isn't any editors right now that can just tell Oda like, you can't, submit this. Like, just because you think something doesn't necessarily you mean you get to do it. This goes both ways, by the way. Just because you're a manga artist doesn't mean you'll be allowed to draw whatever you want. And just because you're an editor and like you have a good idea doesn't necessarily mean you'll have like the political capital inside the company to push that idea. I mean, it's the same thing with like launching any product. If you have an idea on what's good and other people have different ideas on what's good, you have to expend a lot of political capital just to push that thing through. One Piece is peak right now. Oda knows what he is doing. One Piece is definitely not peak right now. Do you know that One Piece volume sales in Japan are as low as like 50,000 copies for new volumes? It's incredibly low by One Piece standards. When back in the day when it was peaking, like every volume when it came out easily sold 2 million copies. It's basically at 25% of what it was at its peak. And that's sort of how things go in terms of like as things get longer. Like everyone has to buy volume 1, but people aren't necessarily going to get all the way to volume 130, right? But One Piece is at a difficult point right now. It's gone on for too long. The story has become too complex. There's just a lot of convoluted shit that people are no longer willing to deal with. Oda's manga for the new generations of younguns in Japan. I don't even know what he is. The new generations already got their generation's One Piece in Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer was for kids born in the year 2000 and, I don't know, 10 or whatever. What One Piece was back when I was a kid or whatever. And yet Demon Slayer is already over and One Piece is still going. Therein lies the heart of the problem. Is that all the other things have just ended and they've finished their stories and One Piece just keeps on going on. How is your manga going? I haven't been doing it much recently. Because I've just been focusing on real life shit. Like I gotta do my taxes and stuff, for example. I figured I deserve a vacation. So I'm not too worried about it right now. This is typical not gonna make it behavior, by the way. People who want to become professional mangaka are people that are supposed to like enjoy drawing manga so much that they spend all their time doing manga storyboarding, even if nobody asks them to, but what can I say? I'm more interested in doing stuff in the IRL sphere right now that I'm in Japan. And by IRL sphere, I mean like learning how to cook so I don't get sick and stuff. Just draw more, dude. Easy. Well, I am drawing. I'm not working on the storyboards, which I have to do a slightly different situation. I'm basically occupying myself with the rather easier task of just focusing on getting better at drawing shit right now instead of going out and creating something. Alright, I think we've entered turd polishing category, so I'm going to end the stream here. See you around, boys. Have a nice night. Good night.